Now that little building back there are infamously or notoriously known as the High Park washrooms. Now, if you were a pole smoker back in the 80s and early 90s, this washroom would have been on your event calendar. Come and join me today. I discuss more in depth the Jeffrey Epstein files, and I also touch more on the mass shooting out in BC. Stick around, but disclaimer, this video gets a little spicy and it might be offensive to some. I'm just forewarning you. Stick around. Thanks. Today I'm out on a bit of a further excursion. I'm in one of my least favorite parks, and the park's called High Park. If you're from Toronto, you know the park. It's probably one of the, well, I think it is one of the largest urban parks in Toronto. But what brought me out here today is what is behind me. Now, people that know the High Park history may or may not know the history of that little building back there. Now that little building back there are infamously or notoriously known as the High Park washrooms. Now, if you were a pole smoker back in the 80s and early 90s, this washroom would have been on your event calendar to come and visit. Now, you're probably also wondering, well, why would I be here? I didn't peg Dewey as a pole smoker. And your assumptions would be right. I am not a pole smoker. I like the ladies. But I'd just like to put a disclaimer in. This washroom, by all accounts, is no longer active in the male homosexual community. And over the course of many years, the city had to, along with law enforcement, had to make it more difficult for this location to be used as a homosexual rendezvous point. They had to do the area. They had to shut the park off. They had to shut the park off to traffic. They had to have sting operations here to curtail the activity. Now, what I'm telling you is going to tie in to where this video is going. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and I did a video yesterday looking for information with regards to the Jeffrey Epstein files and what has been released, the major release the last couple days. Now, I did do some research, and I have people in my comment section from my last video pointing me in the right direction. So I was talking to my buddy, lifelong buddy. He knows about these washrooms. He used to play High Park baseball here. Everyone that is from the West End has known about these washrooms for many years. And so I said to my friend yesterday, I said, in the Epstein files, it's being reported that the victims in many cases were consumed. They were eaten, and they had code words for it. They had pizza, they had beef jerky, and I don't know what other words or code words they had for consuming human flesh. Now, my friend said to me, like he was skeptical about it, and quite honestly, up until very recently, I was very skeptical about it too. But I want to tie this in and a couple other things in my area and in Toronto to the Epstein files and the level of debauchery and deviancy that walks among us in this universe, on this planet. So he was skeptical, and so I said to him, I go, you know, what's so unbelievable about people consuming other people? You know, it's been going on ever since you know, time itself. But more recently, in recent memory, would be Jeffrey Dahmer in the United States, where he would lure homosexual men and homosexual boys into wherever he was, his apartment, whatever, and he would kill them. And in many cases, I guess he consumed them. He ate them. And you know, we know of cannibalism in African countries and other countries. So it's not outside the realm of reality. It is reality. So just because you have high-level politicians, just because you have high-level celebrities, high-level lawmakers, and whoever else rolls within that group of Jeffrey Epstein and Jeffrey Epstein's ilk, just because they're world famous or they're high level, doesn't mean they will not resort to despicable and unimaginable behavior. So there was one story. I'm gonna tell two stories about this washroom. There was one story of a local politician. I remember. I'm not going to say this politician's name. I know who he is. I don't think I've ever met him. He's not in politics any longer, but he had a heavy drug problem back in the 90s. And he was a homosexual male. And I remember him in an interview, and I can't find that interview. I looked for it, I left the house today. But I remember in an interview saying that he would frequent places like this. I don't know if it's specifically the High Park washroom he frequented, but he would go to homosexual meeting points wherever they are. They're in parks, they're in parking lots, they're in public washrooms, they are all over the place, okay? So, and I remember him specifically saying that he could have possibly had over 2,000, that's right, over 2,000 sexual partners in 1 year. Okay, that's a lot of sexual activity, sexual partners. So you can only imagine what is going on in this washroom, where the possibility of having sexual encounters in the thousands, what's occurring in these washrooms. So you can see, or you can imagine or justify why the police would go to great lengths to curtail that and to shut it down and to press charges. It's lewd acts. It leads to ever increasing lewdness. Now, there is a person that you can watch on YouTube by the name of Charlie Veach, and he's based in Manchester, United Kingdom. And there is a place over there that he touches on in some of his videos called Cottagers Cove. And what Cottagers Cove is, it's a canal system that runs through Manchester, very old. It's a European medieval city. And it's got a big bridge over, and it's very shady. And what I mean by shady, it's sketchy. And the canal, not so dissimilar to my local Black Creek, but enclosed, runs through this long bridge. So he goes through there and he catches men. He hasn't put it on video, but he catches men in various stages of lewdness. And he's seen some very disgusting things. And the place itself is disgusting. You can, if you look at Charlie Veach's videos and you look at what these men are being attracted to, or not so much attracted to, they're attracted to homosexual sex. I get that. Well, I don't get that, but I don't know what's in their head, but whatever. They go to a place that is grossly unsanitary, and they do whatever they do there. So this would have been the same thing back in the 80s and early 90s. Now, I haven't really gotten to my working background too much on my channel, but a great percentage of my adult working career was in logistics, third-party logistics, warehousing, warehouse management, cold chain logistics. And I attained various levels of managerial positions in cold chain logistics towards the end of that phase of my life. I was a director for 2 companies towards the end of my career in that life. But when I was early on in my career, I was working for an electronics distribution company, and I won't say the name of it. And at that time, I was living off Parkside Drive, which is directly east here, and I was living with a girl. We rented a basement of a house off High Park. She subsequently became a high-powered lawyer in Toronto, so that relationship worked out for the best. And one night I was driving my car through here because it would be a shortcut coming up this road over here, and I could come out on High Park Boulevard and it would take me right to my house. So this would have been around 11 o'clock at night, and this would have been, I think I was coming back from hockey. Yeah, I was playing men's hockey, summer hockey. And I came up over the hill over here, and my headlights shined on a guy, a gentleman that I recognized. He was standing over there, and obviously with my headlight shining on him, he couldn't see me. I just drove by him. Now this gentleman was the manager of the warehouse that I was employed by. I was employed third party to manage this warehouse, and this guy was the manager of the company that owned the product. And I know the guy's name. I'm sure he's long dead. He was a little older back then. He had gray hair, gray mustache. But this guy was always sick. He was always missing time off work for being sick. And he'd come into work sick, and he was very skinny, very gaunt. Now, I always suspected that this guy might have been a little light in the loafers. And I don't care about that. I really don't. But, you know, people, you know, on the level of the way you carry yourself, it's not so hard to figure out what your sexual preference is. And this guy, he wasn't flamboyant, but it was pretty widely known that he wasn't into the ladies. So I noticed towards the end of our contract there, we were on contract, this guy was missing more and more time off work, and he was becoming increasingly more ill. So, and then when we pulled out of there, I had another person that I remained in contact with that worked there full time for the other company, and he just said one day that he just retired. So I don't know what happened to him, but like I said, this would have been about 1993. So a long time ago, 23 years ago. So if this person's still alive, that's good. But I don't know. I don't know what this person's current status is. My point being, okay, a little long drawn here. There was a person by the name of Bruce MacArthur in Toronto. And it turned out that Bruce MacArthur was a serial killer within the homosexual community. He, by memory, I think he killed 8 people of the homosexual community. He met them various different places, but in the village, the gay village downtown predominantly. And he did some atrocious things to the bodies, indignity to dead bodies. My understanding is he dismembered the bodies, and this is very graphic, I understand that. He dismembered the bodies, and he was a landscaper and gardener, and he would take the bodies, or the pieces of the bodies, put them in his work van, and disperse them, not so dissimilar to these elevated planter boxes. But he would do it at his customers' houses. He would put them in their tomato plants, and you know, by all accounts, to put a humorous spin on it, the foliage and the plants and everything else was never better. That's what some people said. So my friend that I was talking to, having a hard time believing that that these celebrities and politicians and Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and whoever else has been named in these files, I'm not saying everyone was involved in this, but there was a lot of people that were involved in some very, very satanic things. So now, this is a personal spin of the realization that people that can consume other people walk amongst us. So I'm in total belief that people in the Epstein file and very high-ranking politicians and celebrities and sports athletes and business people, they were consuming human flesh and doing unmentionables to little kids and maybe even smaller, like infants. So, and I don't mean, that's a nervous laugh. It's very disturbing. And I'm at the point in my life where I've had enough of it. Now, am I going to go out and do something drastic? Absolutely not. I would say to a very high degree, I'm a sane, rational person. That person in BC yesterday who identified as a trans woman, he was born a male. There's video surfacing of him acting very psychotic. I've subsequently also heard that the RCMP or whatever local police is out there had actually gone in and confiscated weapons out of that house, but the weapons had been returned. The person in question that did the suspected gunman, who is deceased, apparently he did have a PAL, a possession and acquisition license, but it was expired. I don't know how true that is. I'm just hearing this. So he was well known to the police. The RCMP knew quite a bit about this man, and he's not a woman, he's a man. And you know, however the woke RCMP or the woke liberal government wanna say it was a woman that went in and shot up this school, I knew right away. I go, no, this doesn't sound right at all. I knew pretty much from the onset it was a man, boy, whatever. I knew it wasn't a woman. So now a lot of people are saying this was a false flag. This is somehow like a Manchurian candidate type person, where they knew, or they kind of let this person fester or manifest into what transpired yesterday. You know, take his firearms away, give the firearms back to someone that's obviously psychotic. So did the Liberal government facilitate this? Yeah, I'm saying they did. I'm saying they did, and a lot of people are saying they did as well. And it makes sense. Like, you know, our system can't fail this drastically without being allowed to fail. Now, we are in a very, very bad spot in this world because of the people that the people, allow to run this world. All these high-level politicians, all these high-level power brokers, businessmen, pharmaceutical CEOs, insurance CEOs, and women. I shouldn't just say men, and women, sorry. They are leading us in many, many cases to a very evil end. And a lot of people that I talk to, and obviously on YouTube in my comment section, a lot of people are getting very, very upset about this, and to the point where how much more can we allow people to dictate the way we live our life, to take our money, give it to other countries, like lots of it, to raise the price of groceries, to raise the price of, to inflate the price of housing, to inflate the price of rent, to inflate the cost of vehicles, to allow industry to leave Canada, to go to the United States, to allow other countries like China to come in and buy our gold mines, buy our diamond mines, extract natural resources and minerals from our land. How much longer are we going to put up with this is my question. And I'm under no illusion whatsoever that there needs to be drastic reform in this country and drastic change. Now, I touched on Pierre Poilievre, and I'm probably going to touch on Pierre Poilievre in a lot of videos coming up. Pierre Poilievre has been a politician now for 22 years. I looked it up this morning. I think it was, what, 2004 he became a politician. Now, he was voted back in as leader of the official opposition. I have stated that his position is kind of inconsequential. It's kind of irrelevant, other than the fact to give people that don't know what's going on a sense of false security, or the sense that we actually have a choice in who we elect as a politician. We don't. And so we have to start leaning, conservatives like myself have to start leaning on a person like Pierre Poilievre to take the gloves off and get dirty. If you lose your job, Pierre, you lose your job. Go get another job like anyone else. I was talking to a friend this morning. He worked for a company for 15 years. He got packaged out today. So now he's got to look for another job. And that's what people do in the real world. They sometimes lose their job. They sometimes encounter hardships. Life moves on. And a lot of people that lose their jobs because of their moral values and their position against wrongdoing. A lot of people lost their jobs from not succumbing to taking the experimental jab. I'm unvaccinated, and the only way I'll ever become vaccinated, I'll have to be dead. They'll have to put it in my dead body. So a lot of people that didn't want to take the government-enforced experimental vaccination lost their jobs as a result. Now, Pierre Poilievre, you better start stepping up with your counterpart, or your across the aisle, Mark Carney. Mark Carney is a high-level banker. He's not a politician. He has been an aristocrat, an elite globalist banker for decades, and he rolled in the same circles as Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and others, royalty. So maybe, Pierre, you have to start going that angle. You have to start digging up some dirt. Be more of a in the trenches type guy. And I understand that that is a dangerous position to take. I understand the videos I do is potentially dangerous because I know they can silence a guy like me. The only thing I got going for me right now is my channel is so small. I only have a little over 2,000 subscribers, and you know, my channel doesn't have a far reach. Hopefully it does. Hopefully I get people out there that that, you know, what I say resonates within them and they do subscribe. That way you can put me higher up on the radar of the RCMP and CSIS, and maybe one day I'll go missing. So if you want to see me get arrested, or if you want to see me silenced, subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to put a little humor on it. But in closing, the people, oh my, oh, look at this, I don't know if you can see it. There's 3 male cardinals over there on the same tree. 3 male cardinals, beautiful birds. That's why I come out here, not the white owl skin tip washroom behind me. But in closing, the point I made with this this backdrop today, the level of evil, the level of debauchery, the level of sexual deviancy, and the lack of moral compass within the people that walk amongst us is beyond a person like my comprehension. And most people watching this video, it's beyond their comprehension as well. But we have to be very cognizant of the fact and take our head out of the sand or out of the snow. And we have to hold these people accountable, because it's not right that they are keeping us all poor, and then they're going and eating people and unaliving them. Jeffrey Epstein orders 110 gallons of sulfuric acid to Little St. James, 2 55-gallon drums of sulfuric acid, highly corrosive acid. And I heard it was 255 gallons, and I heard it was 3,000 gallons. Regardless, why would someone be ordering that to an island where there has been claims of people being unalived and, you know, like I said, atrocities beyond our comprehension? It's to make people dissolve. So wow, we're in a very dark place. I'm in a very dark place too. Like, this is the more of the rabbit hole you go down, and I'm not deep in the rabbit hole. A lot of people I know, like, they are very deep in the rabbit hole. So it is exhausting at times to know and to dig up what I dig up. But we have to hold these people accountable. How we're going to do that, I don't know yet. But if you got any questions, comments, or concerns, put it in the comment section. I appreciate you watching, and if anything resonates with you, by all means, give me a subscribe. That way I can maybe afford to buy a large coffee as opposed to a medium-sized coffee. Anyone that does YouTube videos knows, you know, you don't get rich doing it. Some people do. I don't foresee me ever getting rich doing it. It's more of a hobby, keeps my mind busy, keeps me active in areas that I would normally go to anyways. Well, not this area. No, not here. Let me back that up. But anyhow, thanks for watching.